Munn to the what was it, chief football officer or some random title like that, with the impending investigation and appeal process of Fabio Paratici. It's come to light that he will come in as Daniel Levy's number 2 apparently, and if Paratici comes back, he'll be working under Scott Munn, and he's had various opportunities where he's kind of worked in different aspects of football in Australia, in where else? Australia and China. I don't know. I don't really know what kind of work he has done, but we have kind of heard that he has been kind of successful in his job. I think he was involved in the City Group as well. Do you think this appointment is a step in the right direction? What we're hearing is that Daniel Levy will be taking a step back from football operations, but we heard that when Fabio Paratici joined Spurs as well, so I'm not fully convinced. But Perchi, do you think this appointment is a step in the right direction?
On paper, yes. I think on paper you look at it, it goes the right direction. It's what we've been asking for as fans for a very long time, that we have an independent person on the board that is dealing with the sporting aspect of our club. And when I say sporting, I mean the football. Don't care about any of the other sporting events that happen at Tottenham. I'm on about the football. So yes, potentially has a great opportunity here. But the way I look at it, I will only start giving it praise when I see action. I start seeing a plan at Tottenham. I start seeing the way that we are operating is differently.
Hey, Perchi, don't tell me that win against Brighton was nothing but a new CFO bounce.
Oh, don't start. No, honestly. No. It's not. It's
the Scott Munn bounce. You don't know that?
The Scott Munn bounce. Amazing. I mean, as long as we just start actually spending Scott money. Should we try that one? Oh, sorry, that was terrible. But yeah, no. But no, I genuinely think, I said, until we're still seeing action, then I'll start bringing it in. Everyone got really excited about Paratici. I thought he was bang average. I genuinely think, I will say that, and I'll say it again, I think he was awful. His appointment.
I think it's a bit of a different role though that we're talking about here, because I think
no, it is. Yeah, I think he's a more senior role in a sense. But because I read somewhere that Paratici, even if he'll come back in his role if his appeal thing goes through or something like that, and I'm like, I kind of hope it doesn't, because I genuinely think we need to rip up his contract, because I think people get really excited about Paratici. And I sit and go, apart from the 3 players he got from his old club, who's he brought in that's any good? Genuinely. I think that's a bit unfair, because he's brought in Bentancur, he's brought in Romero, he's brought in Kulusevski. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Porro.
Yeah, so Romero, Kulusevski and Bentancur all came from his old club. So, from the club at Juventus. So, apart from those 3...
I think Papan Matasar is going to be a good player. I think I like the look of him. Brian Hill, I think he does have quite a lot of talent. Destiny Doji, I mean, we don't know, but hopefully he's going to be a good
Destiny Doji, you could potentially say could happen. But this is the thing is
Fraser Forster's been his best signing anyway.
Wow, I mean that literally says it all, doesn't it? That literally says everything. And I genuinely think, I don't think he's done any better than what we've done in any sort of. I think when people talk about him as sort of amazing Basuma, but you could argue Basuma was nothing to do with him. I read a lot of reports that had nothing to do with him, Basuma. So it's like we can. To be honest. I read that was all Levy that sorted out the Basuma deal. So like, it's one of those.
We know Levy sorted out the Richarlison deal as well.
Yeah, no, I know. But my point being is that hopefully this new guy comes in. This guy comes in now, and he's the one in charge. He's the one that signs it off. He does it. We have an actual person in charge of it. So, as I said, when it happens, I'm not going to start jumping in for joy yet, because nothing's happened yet. When something happens, then we'll start talking.
But do you not think it's good, though, if we're talking about getting Levy away from footballing operations? Is this not more Levy, it's just not more evidence anyway that Levy will be hopefully focusing more just on the business side and leaving the whole of, because what it seems to me is this Paratici, in terms of how this is going to work, is like Paratici is going to be more about recruitment and like doing deals, negotiating, identifying people, and this guy's going to be above that, like doing like budgeting for recruitment, working with the academy, seeing there's a pipeline, just restructuring our whole football operations, restructuring our football operations. And it seemed to me like maybe Levy was doing that before, and maybe this is more separation for him.
Yeah, agreed. And no, you're right. But as I said, proof is in the pudding. We haven't even put the cake yet we haven't even put the cake in the oven to cook it yet. Let's see what happens at the end of it if something happens. As I said, it's the right steps. We need someone in charge of creating an actual culture at this football club again, because we need to start with a plan from start to beginning. As I said, there's no route for, and I was saying this on the stream the other day with someone. I said, there's no route for the 14-year-old youngster that is in our youth systems. There's no route to the top, is it? Even for the lads in our academy, there's no route to the first team, is there? And for me, that's our big problem. You look at other clubs who are great at it. Man City are brilliant. You can pick out the team players of late that have come through their academy. Even this season, Rico Lewis has come through and he's playing games for him. I don't see one academy player at the moment even getting an opportunity at Spurs. Doesn't mean that they're good or bad. I don't know how great or whatever they are. But do you sort of see my point? We need a whole transformation at this club, because we're not going to go out there and spend 80, 90 million pound on players. So start building players. Let's start making players that are going to be that. And if we have to sell them on at 90 million quid, but we just rotate it. Brighton do it really well. They go and buy kids young and then they produce them. And yeah, I think that's for me. I think if this bloke comes in and he's the one that goes and creates an actual culture at this club, then fair play to him. We need someone like that.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say, because like, how many times have we all sat here and being like, all right, this is the step that we needed to take. This is the step for Daniel Levy to take a step back in the footballing side and just focus on the business side. We're on the right path now. And then you hear, oh, Daniel Levy's involved in this. Daniel Levy's involved in that. Daniel Levy's screwing this up. Daniel Levy is screwing that up. So I think, yes, in argument's sake, that it is a good step if you take all things considered, but you need to see how it pans out, because Daniel Levy needs to stop sticking his oar in where it's not wanted and let football people, or let those people that he's employed to make the footballing decisions, stick with the footballing decisions. I mean, Ash, do you think this is the right step for the football club?
I smell bullshit. That's what I smell. That's what I smell. So what a coincidence. Conte leaves, clubs in disarray. Oh my days, everything's, clubs burning down. You know, we drop out against Southampton. It's a massive, explosive press conference. Conte calling out the players, saying they're no good. Tottenham have won nothing in 20 years. Why? Yeah? Come on, man. AC Milan game. Well, like, obviously that's a madness. Obviously we go crushing out the cock for Sheffield United. The fans, they're not happy. It's disarray. People calling Pochettino out. People been calling Levy out. And then all of a sudden we get Paratici, who never, ever comes on his phone and does like a video call. All of a sudden he's on his phone like, yeah, hi guys. I think we need to be getting behind Stellini. And let's go make it up for. Yeah, come on guys. 24 hours later. Has now lost his has got a 3-4 white band. Like, come on. Levy flies off to Asia. All of a sudden, Scott Munn is the new champion. Like, too, like, you know, Dr. Evil's got a little minion, little sidekick. Yeah, that's the little mini-me. That's what he is. He's got a bald head as well. No, the people with bald heads. Bald lives matter. I get it. But you get me? I could just see it. Like, Tottenham comes now. Tottenham are interested in Maddison. Closest sources to say Maddison is getting nearer. We are focusing on Maddison. Interested FC.com. Nothing's gonna change. I'm telling you, it's like he employs people that have the same mindset as him. Do you know what I'm saying? Like nothing really changes where it matters. Do you know what I'm saying?
Ash, would you say instead of it being a genuine step to restructure the footballing side of the club, is maybe Levy just hired a cheap yes man to stave off the fans? Is that what you're thinking?
My bro, it's just the timing. Call me a cynic. I don't know. I'm just looking at what I've seen, and then I'm just seeing what's happened after, and it's happened so quickly. Like it just, to me, there's no coincidence. You understand?
This is the guy that they've been chasing for years, Ashmatic. What are you talking about?
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, come on, we're Tottenham fans. Come on, man.
This is the step we've needed.
We've been through this. Like, I'm not like. It's like one of those, like the girl that keeps going to the man that keeps cheating on her, but like it's like, oh, he's gonna change. I'm the one that can change him. I'm the one that. Do you know what I mean? That's like, I feel like some Spurs fans, not all Spurs fans, like they give that hope to Levy, thinking, yeah, maybe he has got this guy to step in and change things. Like, yeah, maybe he's different to the Paratici era. Yeah, maybe it's different to the Kamoli era, or
maybe he's finally learned. Maybe he's finally learned.
Has he finally learned his lesson? Well, time will tell. So
what about the guy that keeps protesting against his ex?
But just looking at the evidence, I'm just like, I just don't believe you. Me personally, I've just been burnt so many times. I think I've got that PTSD, like, you know what I mean? I've got mad issues, like, you know what I mean?
I get the feeling Levy could announce tomorrow he's stepping down and you wouldn't believe him.
I still think he could die tomorrow, and I still think he has some type of control. Like, he would hold us up forever for me. Like, I just can't see him. He's too much of a control person. Like, he just wants his hands on everything. Do you know what I mean? He just can't let it go. Like even down to the stadium when it was getting built, he wanted to know how every doorknob was being fixated. Do you know what I mean? Down to where everything was being placed. He's just so like, he couldn't even let the builders do his job. This was the working construction, but yeah, he's all over it. Do you understand? You're a finance man. Stick to finance. Do you know what I'm saying? So, like, how many times did we see with Poch? Like, Poch was in charge, and Poch wanted a pre-season with players. He's like, please, Levy, please, give me players early so I can have a pre-season with them and I can develop them. Do you know what I mean? And then, no, Levy wants to save money on wages. So guess what? He does his lastminute.com, so he hasn't got to pay all the way through June, July, and a bit of August. He just signs at last minute, and that way he saves money on wages. He's a finance man. He's an accountant man. He's seen it. And that's what I've got to say. I could be wrong, but that's just my opinion. That's it.
We got one of our fans, a guy called Andy. He actually sent us this really long message about Scott Munn the other day after his appointment. I want to read it because I thought it's quite interesting. He says, "I think the appointment of Scott Munn is a momentous moment for Spurs.
Momentous."
He says, "Momentous moment for Spurs and its fans. He is an exceptional sports administrator and he's top notch. He understands how to build an efficient, smart sports organisation that produces results. It's not a position that requires football knowledge. It's a position that's all about building an administration that supports success on the field. He will organise and hire people that will bring success. This is also a massive sign that Levy is trying to distance himself from sports administration and focus on the business, which is undoubtedly he has done a tremendous job. I've known Scott Munn, and I know he's built Melbourne FC into a powerhouse in Australian football. He's a top-notch work on a super successful Olympics committee. He's a senior executive on the NRL and AFL that are powerhouses in Australian sport. This really could be amazing. He will build the infrastructure and hire good football people to do their magic, something Spurs have missed for 30 plus years." So
my ears are hurting. I just know. All I heard was Cricket World Cup, Rugby World Cup coming to Spurs Stadium, NFL. That's what I heard. Yeah. Sporting infrastructure. Money to the stadium. Money. Sport infrastructure. Like, obviously, it'd be great if that money is put into, some of us put in, some of our kitty when it comes to the war chest, that we can prove like, our finance is coming from here. It's good to have streams. I'm not against streams, by the way. So like, I'm all for it, but I just don't know. I can't see us becoming all of a sudden a super powerhouse like a Man City, how they operate in the market, etc., etc. I mean, it gives us more tools and more arms. Yes, I agree. But yeah, I just heard Cricket World Cup. I'm sorry.
So listening to that, Ash Allperch, does that sound like a guy who's going to be geared towards success on the pitch, or more still commercial success?
Yeah, to me, it sounded like commercial. I mean, sporting could be anything. You know what I mean? Entertainment-wise, like I think sporting, you've got loads of opportunities. The stadium's not being used for long time periods when football's not being played, so I think it's a great opportunity.
What do you mean? You're going to see Spurs lift the ashes at the Tottenham Hotspur? I mean, England lift the ashes at the Tottenham Hotspur.
We might even get a cricket team called like Aussie Hotspur. I don't know. You know what I mean? Hotspur. Or international Hotspur. Our own cricket team, our own rugby team. It'd be amazing. But just football-wise, I'm still skeptical. Like, I've been burnt, so please forgive me, guys. Like, yeah, I've got to start.
Go on, Perch.
What do I think of it? Listen, as I said to you a moment ago, proof's in the pudding. I want to see something before I start talking about it. Is it positive? Look, to take it on face value, yeah, why not? It's positive on that side of things. But I think for me, it's all about the bigger picture, really. The bigger picture is this person in charge to create a philosophy and a culture at Tottenham from youth level to first team level? I want to see it before I talk about it. It can, because I've seen it happen so many times. I hear about this, that, and the other so much that I don't really care until I see it. Listen, I think this guy could be great, but it could also just be exactly the same every single time at Tottenham. So for me, I want to see something before I start giving this guy praise. I think we, as a fan base, as I said, we've had other people in charge in these sort of roles that we all got excited with, and then it kind of just faded into nothing again. So I think great news. Listen, it's on face value, it's a step forward, but for me, I want to see more before we start giving this person some sort of credit before he's even done anything.
I think on a serious note, I think if it is to be successful, it's going to take time. We're not going to see an immediate effect. If it is like what they're proposing from that comment, I think it would take like maybe.
But hopefully, we'll start to see changes from early on, though.
I mean, yeah. These things take time. If this guy's never had experience in European football, it's going to take a while to implement his styles. But it is like you said, on paper, positive on paper. I'll see that.
On paper, yeah, you're right. On paper, it could be a really good appointment, but for me, and you're absolutely bang on what you said. This is something that's not people in the chat here think that this is something that's going to make a difference next season. You're far from it. This is something that we're going to see improvement for 5, maybe even 10 years.
That's what I'm saying.
We have to be sensible. If in the in the summer, this at the end of the window, we're not going to be seeing massive improvements and stuff in the summer. We've got to be very sensible here and think this person, we have to give his time. We have to see improvements, consistent improvements over the time, over years. It could even take a decade. I think it's going to take a decade for us to be anywhere near competing at the likes of Man City, because we are so behind. I just want us to be competing with Newcastle, and even that could be a problem in a couple of years' time. We're not even competing with Newcastle at the moment. We're struggling to compete with Brighton. Heck, we struggled to compete with Southampton a few weeks ago and Everton. So I think we have to be much more realistic and sensible when it comes to this sort of thing. Could be positive, and as I said, I will talk about it when I see actual infrastructure and process from the bottom to the top at Tottenham.